Hey guys. All right, so today we're going to be talking all things Charlotte Mason. And I want to share with you my story, how I started with Charlotte Mason, how it looked like, what it looked like through the different years. My children are now in 8th grade and 5th grade, or Form 2 and Form 3. And I want to offer some tips on how to make Charlotte Mason work for you, no matter if you have neurodivergent children, if you have special needs, if you have a really busy schedule, or it just feels like it may be all a bit too much. And so I hope you stick around so we can talk about all the things. Before we get started, one of my biggest tips with Charlotte Mason is to just do the things you can. Think about spreading the feast, not making it something where you are trying to keep up with a curriculum necessarily, but that you're using the curriculum as a guide to good books, to a skeleton of a schedule, to what kind of goes where, and to give them the support. That one of the best things about the CMEC, in my opinion, is the support, that there are programs, there are guides, the book choices are already made for me, and I can swap out whenever I need to swap out based on my children's unique temperament and needs and where they are developmentally. And yet I always have the support of the CMEC. I can reach out to the form leaders. I can do the mother's education course. I can listen to the form meetings. There's just so much hand-holding, which is what I really needed with Charlotte Mason. And so let's talk a little bit about my journey. And then at the end, I'm going to share, some podcasts and resources and how I use a Charlotte Mason, how I implement a Charlotte Mason education in our unique family. All right, so first of all, I found Charlotte Mason way back when. Chloe was about 4 when I knew that I was going to be homeschooling kindergarten. At this point, we were just like, okay, we don't want to put her in full-time kindergarten. What is that going to look like? And I found Sarah Mackenzie and Pam Barnhill really early. And I was thinking about, it would be so cool when we can finally do a book of centuries or Plutarch, but my child was only 4 or 5 at the time, and I just needed to learn how to teach my child to learn how to read. And I was a bit confused, and I did find Charlotte Mason, and I did try. I remember doing the poem by Robert Louis Stevenson, "The rain is raining all around, it falls on hills and trees." Okay, I'm probably already messing it up, but I did the thing. I had the board, and we did the thing with, trying to parse through in the Charlotte Mason method of teaching to read, which the CMEC does a wonderful job of providing books and resources and videos if you want to do everything the Charlotte Mason way. But at the time, the CMEC, I don't think existed. I didn't know about Modern Omnibus. I think I went on Ambleside Online and was like, I'm so confused. I'm so confused. I need someone to hold my hand. And so eventually I just did 100 easy lessons to teach a child to read. After that, I was lost again and kind of worked my way through, Bob books. I eventually found those and it worked, but my daughter ended up having dyslexia, which made it to where reading was a really hard thing for a really long time. And at this point, I kind of put Charlotte Mason aside. I was like, okay, well, it sounds beautiful. It sounds like it's working for some families, but I can't even figure out how to get my daughter to read. Everything felt really hard. And so I'm like, I'm just gonna not. And so, I tried kind of all the things that Pam Barnhill was talking about. I found Andrew Pudua. I found Matthew C. I think maybe eventually I found All About Spelling and All About Reading. And those resources did work for a time. And I remember her 3rd grade year, we tried Seton. And I was like, I'm just gonna buy the 3rd grade set. Well, if you have twice exceptional, neurodivergent, asynchronous children, you can't just buy a boxed curriculum. They're gonna be higher than that level on some things and lower on that level on some things. And yes, Seton does allow you to trade out books. But again, I, as the mom who's also neurodivergent, was like, I don't even know how to do this. I'm just gonna buy the 3rd grade set. And it was hard. The math didn't work for us. There was not enough explanation there. And anyway, Charlotte Mason was always kind of calling to me, but again, I just kind of was like, I can't do that. I can barely do this workbook thing. We did Julia Bogart a little bit, and I forget what her, Brave Writer. And then once we went to Germany, my friend was like, hey, I'm going to join the CMEC. And I was like, what's that? And so I looked into it, and since I tend to be impulsive, I was like, oh, Charlotte Mason. And she's like, yeah, the community is great. And I'm like, I don't care about the community. I just want someone to teach me how to do Charlotte Mason. And she's like, yeah. And so I paid, I joined, I watched, I got so excited. And then it was like, I was the cricket, playing all summer, not pre-reading, not figuring out my timetable. It was all very overwhelming. And I come to my fall term, and I have a timetable I put together, but I've never done school this way. You guys know I'm pretty relaxed. I unschooled for a year. I'm pretty eclectic. I like to just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. But no, we're gonna do this. And I'm also in like a stress cycle because I'm in Germany and it's 2021. And so it went, we made some progress. I didn't even try to do all the things. Like if you look at the CMEC program, there are and then you throw in the common subjects like art and music and solfege and I don't know, all the things. It's like, whoa, it's a lot. And my children were not little. At this point, Chloe was, I think, 5th grade. She was in Form 2 upper, and he was in Form 1 upper. And so I hadn't even gotten a chance to lay these foundational skills, which is amazing. Look, we didn't even know what narration was. And so working our way with a 5th grader, trying to teach them narration for the first time and teach myself narration, and I like to talk, so I'm getting in all over their lessons, which isn't what you're supposed to do, because I had not studied the philosophy. I'm going to get to that in a minute. And so we went through year 1, kind of hit and miss, and every year I come up against the renewal, and I'm like, oh, do I really want to renew? I don't know. That was really hard. But my children made progress, but that was really hard. Like hard for me, hard for them. And so I renewed again. And then I'm like, you know what? We're going to do in the middle of the year, usually in February, I'm like, I'm just so far behind their timetable. Like we're only halfway through a book that we're supposed to finish. Yes, exams, that was interesting. That was kind of exciting, but there was also a lot of pushback. And so, I'm really liking the philosophy side of things. I love the idea that the Holy Spirit is guiding what my children pull from each living book, but I'm struggling with keeping up. And then, so I tried Catholic Schoolhouse for a while, and I love that because it takes 15 minutes and I'm checking all these boxes, but my children are retaining nothing. They're retaining nothing. It's all like rote memory work. And that's not what drew me to Charlotte Mason, and really what is my philosophy of education, that I want my children exposed to living ideas. I want the Holy Ghost to be able to speak to them through an author, and for me to get out of the way. I do not want to teach my children. Like, I'm going to teach you guys, I don't know, how to write a paragraph, and I'm going to be the instructor. And I thought I wanted to do that because I wanted to be a teacher. I have an education major undergrad, but that's just not how homeschool works for most of us. That's not the dynamic. That's a teacher in a classroom, not at the kitchen table. Is so different. And so I love that I get to be my children's, guide, philosopher, and friend. I love that education is a discipline, an atmosphere, and a life. And yet it took me so long, because I didn't know the philosophy at first, to really understand that I just had to get out of the way and present the feast in however imperfectly I presented the feast, and that they would take what they will, and it's just really between them and God. And I'm doing my part. As long as I'm doing my part, it's between them and God. And so now today, here I am. I just signed up for my 4th year with the CMEC, and I am so excited. But I want to tell you what it looks like right now in my home with regards to Program 8, because I think that it may help you realize that, again, all this is pretty imperfect. So the schedule that we have come up with, the timetable of sorts that we have, is that from 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning, we have together time. And in together time, we do all sorts of things whenever I feel like getting to it. So once a week, we do Our Lady of the Rosary Catechism. We will do one reading, not 4, of a chapter in, I think we're in the Gospel of Mark right now. We do that all together with our Dewey Reams Bible at the table with our Bible highlighters. And we read aloud, we take turns, and we discuss it, after they narrate. And sometimes there's not a whole lot to narrate from a chapter in the Bible because it was like, what happened? But that's okay. That's okay. I take whatever narration my children give me. And one of my children is much more fluent in their oral narration, and the other one prefers to have time to think and ponder and write. And so I know this. So when I ask for an oral narration, I kind of have an idea now after 3 years to where they are, and are they where Karen Glass and No One Tell says they should be at 14 and 11? No. Neil's not doing any written narration. Chloe's not near 150 words, I don't think, written. And yet, that's okay, because we can be flexible and we can know that as we continue to grow every year in our narrations, Neil will eventually do written narrations and Chloe will eventually get to become a fluent narrator. And that really is just about consistency. There's a lot of grace here that I think that when we get really stuck in the how and we don't understand the why or the what, the why mostly, then we get kind of tunnel vision and think we just have to do it exactly as it's laid out and become almost a slave to the curriculum, even the beautiful CMEC curriculum, and we don't need to do that. So back to my schedule. Together time. There's some catechism, there's some Bible, there's some picture study, there's some we're doing Bach this term, there's some reading, there's some novel reading. Like, it's just sprinkled out in that hour. We get up and we do some PE type moves for like 10 minutes. We run around the house, or we do some squats and lunges and push-ups, just to kind of get their blood flowing. I try to do with Charlotte Mason and her, again, the why, or the, is that you vary your lessons. So if we're doing a book reading, then I ask them, where's your attention level at? And if they're like, yeah, we need a break, we don't actually take a break. We do something else. Like, we'll do some Greek words, or we'll do a poem memory work, or we'll, we do some scripture sometimes, so you just weave things in, but it's so imperfect. And after an hour, we take a walk. And I was taking them on a longer walk, and it took way too long last week. So we're just going to do a short walk with Rocket, get him outside, get us outside. We come back, we're going to do math for 30 minutes. We use CTC math. If you haven't looked up CTC math, it's amazing. It's $200 for a year for all grades, as many kids as you want. And so you can take placement tests, you can jump around. Like, let's say you kind of missed a subject, you can go back to 3rd grade with your 5th grader, and then you can jump ahead with your, with your child that's like cruising through math. They can do as many as they want. It works to mastery. It's just a really great program. It's all online. We use Khan Academy to supplement as needed. And we also have like whiteboards that have like the squares, like the dry erase squares, so they can line up their columns when they're doing different math equations, and also so they can show their work, because obviously that's really important. And after math, I spend 30 minutes with Neil on one subject. So right now we're doing Life and Her Children, or we're doing geography. We're doing geography. We decided to step away from the CMEC's choice for geography. Both of my children were just not, I love it, but the children were just not loving it. And so I'm like, you know what, let's just do something else. And so if you saw my thumbnail, there's The Material World, which is one of those beautiful, like, kind of coffee table books. And so both children are doing India, and Chloe's actually going to do some kind of presentation on India, because sometimes you need to make a presentation about something, and it's just kind of it's a skill my husband wants her to have. It's not Charlotte Mason at all, but again, we're not a slave. We are utilizing philosophies that speak to our heart, as Catholic moms and moms and wives, homeschoolers. And so we do that. We do British history, because my son likes to do it with me. So anyway, the books that he can't do on his own that are assigned, we do together. And then after that, at 11, is it 11 at that point? they go into, like, Chloe's already been upstairs doing independent work. We use Syllabird. I put in which is a planner app, and I put all of her assignments in there, and she can just look at it and plug away, and she loves it. She has a narration notebook. She narrates in writing at least one a day. She keeps forgetting sometimes. I'm like, please narrate everything. A lot of times she comes and just orally finds me and just orally narrates, but trying to get her to do some written narration and to kind of extend. I'm like, just do one extra sentence after you do your narration. And her narrations are very funny. They're very Chloe. They are not like, and again, like, composition is that idea. I just learned this the other day. Composition is when you write for an audience. Like, you're writing to a particular audience, and you're trying to do some, like, get some kind of message across. Writing is anything. Journaling, writing a letter, writing an email, writing a text, writing a fun story, whatever. That's writing. That's what narration is. And the narration leads to composition when and if it's necessary. Okay, so I think that's everything. So I'm schooling from 8:30 to 11 with the walk in the middle there, and some PE and some fun stuff, some art study, some listening to some classical music, getting some catechism. And then, and we school in the kitchen. So sometimes when they do their catechism, I'll like be baking something. It's quite lovely, actually. And then, but yeah, I'm done at 11. And then I can do, they like me to make their lunch now. So I started making their lunch, and then they listen to an audiobook during lunch. And it's very doable, but again, it's not everything. We still are not doing nature study. I think it's so funny that, Charlotte Mason, like, everyone thinks, oh, the nature study lady. We actually have never done nature study, like, consistently at all. We might do, like, the Burgess animal book, or we have the oh my goodness, what's her name? Hancock? Her nature field guides. We have stuff. We have the notebooks for the sketching and things. And once in a while we do it, but it's not consistent in our home. It just isn't. And that's okay. I talk a lot to my children about nature just for fun, but I don't make it like a stressful thing in our home. We're not always doing solfege. I'm trying to think. We've never done paper sloyd. We've never done a handicraft. So these are goals, right? But they're not make it or break it to the CMEC. Okay, so now that I've kind of explained Charlotte Mason and how we've used it, and kind of swapping out some books for others as necessary, not ideally, but as necessary, I want to talk about some resources that have really helped me lately. So the main resource that I love is the New Mason Joy. The New Mason Jar. It adds a lot of joy. And that is a podcast by Cindy Rollins. And if you go to the beginning, there are some amazing episodes. They're all amazing, but I'm going to link the ones that were just like, yes. So I also am reading In Vital Harmony. I'm reading A Philosophy Towards Education by Charlotte Mason. Like, I'm realizing that I need to understand Charlotte Mason principles so that when we don't finish our history book, because we are never finishing our history book, we are never keeping up. Never say never, but 99% of the time, we do not get to where the CMEC says we should get by exams. We just aren't. And I'm learning that that's okay, because what we do teach is so much better than the education I got. And some is better than none. Okay? So some is better than none. But if you give up on a book, if you're like, I'm never using Life and Her Children because we just get through it 2 pages and then we have to stop because it's so rich, or my son doesn't understand the language, but yet he's also still narrating. So it's like, it is what it is. Just little bits, I think, are just so much better than putting aside an entire book. The book, The Sciences, the main thing I took from that book was the fact that there was this diving bell. I loved that little 1-page insert about the diving bell. And later on in the afternoon, when you have leisure time, you can go watch a YouTube video about the diving bell. And it was like, oh wow, this is really fascinating. And it made you kind of consider how much grit men used to have, and the danger they used to put themselves in, just to dig a hole or lay a line or build a bridge. And I just think there's a lot of like separation in our day. We're so digital like this, right? That we kind of get away from realizing that there's still, I'm assuming there's still to this day like jobs like that, but in the past there was just that much more. So the new mason jar is amazing. The CMEC, if you are interested in the CMEC, they have an amazing like packet you can download. They did do an open house, and I don't know if that is available. I will link it down below if that video is available for those who are considering the CMEC. At this point, my daughter starts high school next year. We will always be a CMEC family. I will always renew my CMEC membership. And I think I even said that like 6 months ago. And then I started to kind of question, and I was like, where else am I going to go? This is where I want to be. Celeste and Amy are both Catholics. Celeste does a really good job of having a blog post every year that helps supplement Catholic resources within the choices of literature that are more geared towards like what Charlotte Mason herself would have chosen, which of course she was Anglican. And also like just because they both are Catholic, like there's a lot of book selections that do breathe the church into the curriculum. And so while it is not an overtly Catholic curriculum, and we choose not to follow, we choose not to read the Peterson books. I know that Celeste and Amy both do. And you know, you have to make your choice for yourself. But there are so many great Catholic commentaries out there, and just, you know, listening to homilies by, you know, good and holy priests and things. And like I said, the Our Lady of the Rosary Catechism is all online, and it's very beautifully done, and it follows the Baltimore Catechism. So if you want something like that. And for example, this book, 3 Philosophies of Life on Ecclesiastes, why can I not say that? Life is Vanity, Job, Life is Suffering, and Song of Songs, Life is Love. And I had never read this. Actually, I had never read Peter Kreeft before. And this was recommended because Chloe's going to be doing Job. And so I'm pre-reading this, and it's been beautiful. And he talks a lot about the Confessions. If you read Peter Kreeft, I have heard him talk about how he really likes the Ed Sheed translation of Confessions. So heads up there. Oh, this is another long video. Okay, so did I cover everything? I think so. I just really want to, like, I want to cheerlead you guys. I want to cheerlead you as I am cheerleading myself. I have learned that trusting God is number one, right? So unify your will with His. Don't just conform your will to His, unify it. Be so open that your will is His will. And after that, learn to trust yourself. Have your own back. If you love the 20 principles of Charlotte Mason, if you have heard about Charlotte Mason and you're like, yes, this is sitting really comfortably with me. I really do believe that children are born persons. I really do believe that the atmosphere of the home is more important, that education is a science of relations and relationships. Then don't give up too quickly on a Charlotte Mason education. And again, I'm going to post one down below, those podcasts I've listened to. And one of them was about Cindy Rollins always says, however imperfectly. And I was so intrigued by that because I hadn't really heard that yet. And as a recovering perfectionist, I needed that, however imperfectly. And she said it wasn't even her words. It was Charlotte Mason's words. And so you guys, like, even Charlotte Mason knew this is the ideal. We're shooting for an ideal. We're shooting for this idea of spreading the feast and allowing our children to eat of the food of the mind. And everything counts. Everything counts. And it's okay if you don't do everything. So with that, you guys, if you got to the end today, I want you to put a star in the comments. You don't even have to comment. You just put a star down below. And if you did not realize that there is now a circle community for Blooming in the Light, I really hope that you would join us. Now down below, there is a coupon code for a free trial for 1 month. Otherwise, it's only $5 a month, or you can pay a whole year and it's $50. And that literally just helps me pay for the platform. It's been so much fun in there. It's so beautiful that it's off Facebook, it's off social media. You can just get the little circle app, or you can do it from your phone or your browser. And you know, we message in there, there's all the buckets are in there. So like God and marriage and homeschooling and meal planning and homemaking and praying for one another, like, and I'm forgetting something, self-care and mindset work, it's all in there. So I really pray that you will pray about joining us over there. I think you're not gonna, I don't think you're gonna regret it. And of course you can always leave at any time. Though I will say, if you join and then you leave, please let me know why, just because I wanna make this better for you guys. And if there's something that's missing, you know, I want to, if it's God's will, right? I want to add that for you or be more available for you. So with that, you guys, down below, besides the star, let me know like what you're using for homeschool. If you're excited about 2025, 26, this is the time of year. We know this is the time of year. We have 7 active weeks of school left. So we are on school break right now, spring break. And then we have 7 more weeks of schoolwork, but we also we always take off the Easter octave. And Holy Week, we'll just see when Mass falls, like where I'm not even sure exactly what's being offered for Mass right now. And so, but no matter what, my children always do their independent work. And that's something we can talk about more in another video, but that has been an absolute godsend, because I'm realizing that the more I can give them, the more, even if I'm not feeling well, or even if I'm just like, oh my goodness, I just need like an hour to clean the house. Like, I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to stick to my schedule, and we can talk about that as well, because I just made a new schedule and I'm really excited about it. God's been telling me for a while, please make a schedule. Please make a schedule. I'm like, no, Lord, I don't like that. And he's like, please make a schedule. Because you guys know what? The definition of sloth is not just like laying around on your phone. It's not doing what you're supposed to be doing when you're supposed to be doing it. Without a schedule, how do you know when you have the freedom to sit on your phone and scroll, and when you need to be preparing dinner or baking something in the oven or running to the grocery store or remembering there's that online meeting you wanted to go to, you know, and all the things. All right, you guys, Pax Christi, I love you all, and I'm excited to talk more about Charlotte Mason and the CMEC as I learn, because I'm deep diving, so come along with me. Bye.